Is it toxic to call out bad players? By Cole Evix. 4,000 views. Controversial topic. This discussion does an in-depth look and analysis, it says.
Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I really want to make a discussion topic that I think is a discussion really worth having. On the subreddit earlier today, there was actually a post titled, "Is calling out people that play below average really that bad?" And then the writer of that post went
I'm just gonna go ahead and say that, like, they made the first mistake by reading the Final Fantasy 14 subreddit.
into detail, saying that some might think that I'm sounding a bit elitist, others might see some truth to it, but I really want to know if calling people out for performing poorly, and then they make some clarification about being freestyle, not new player poorly. It's really hard to tell the difference for the rec, just based around my own experience, because it's just like if they don't explicitly have the sprout icon, it's really hard to tell. And then they go into some detail, like, what about if you make 3 people or sometimes 7 waste their time on something just because this particular person is unwilling to read some tooltips for 2 minutes? And if you've ever checked out one of my ultimate guides, you know there's a little bit more to it than that. And then
This person has ultimate guides?
likewise, the author makes some arguments saying that they understand that some people may say that you're taking the game too serious, and then they make the argument saying, no, I take my time seriously, and yours too, and that they play well enough to make sure that things go smoothly and according to plan, and that they like to perform as well as they possibly can to...
For the record, I think that if you are underperforming, it's toxic. I think, for the record, I would say it's toxic to underperform and waste other people's time. I think that's more toxic than calling people out for doing that. Calling people out for wasting other people's time, I think, is okay. I mean, like, you should be nice to them, but I also think that, like, if you're wasting other people's time, you already did them wrong, so you should, like, expect people to not be happy with you for that.
basically make sure that they like value their time as well as the time of others around them. And then this person actually makes the argument that it's actually a double standard to say that you're really being nice in this instance. And actually, to provide a little bit of my own commentary on this, when it comes to a lot of players of Final Fantasy XIV, a lot of them are working adults. Like, I think that the majority of players that I know are actually all above the age of 18. And I'm not just trying to be coy there, and it's not like I vet anyone out. Like,
What does this have to do with people
if you
being
have
adults?
like a younger player, like, of course, treat them well. And
Oh,
it's
yeah,
just,
okay,
I
yeah.
haven't really
You gotta be nice to
encountered
kids,
that
I
many
agree with that.
aren't actually adults. Like, the grand majority. Likewise, that turns into things like they work full time, and then they might only get an hour or 2 every night to play the game, if even. And especially like if they have children, and that's definitely a factor when you're looking into like booking raid times. It's just like, oh, do they have to pick up their
I think
kids
it
from
depends,
hockey,
like,
or
what I'm talking about underperforming is based on the context, right? Like, I feel like if a dungeon's whatever, I'm not gonna say anything, but like in a learning party, let's say you're on like what's a good example? What's a good example? Holy Mirrors. Let's say you're a Holy Mirror prog, Shiva. Let's say you're doing Holy Mirror prog, right? And then someone joins your party and they just don't know how to do light rampant. They just keep messing up light rampant over and over again. They just keep messing it up. I think it's toxic that they join the party without being able to do light rampant, despite it being a Holy Mirror prog. And I feel like they're wasting some other people's time. And I feel like you should call someone out for doing that because because calling out toxic behavior is not toxic, in my opinion. Like, that's just you just say, like, yeah, you should not be in this party, and you kick them. And I don't think it is your job. I don't think it's your job to tell them how to improve, because it's just not. It's not your job. Like, why would that be your job? I don't think it's an extreme example because that shit happens all the fucking time in learning parties and clear parties, because I joined them and that shit happens all the fucking time and it's so annoying. Like, literally so many clear parties, people just like don't know mechanics. I've joined so many clear parties where people literally don't know mechanics. Like, they don't know how isolate works. They'll go into isolate and they're like, oh, am I supposed to Asuna? And it's like, why are you in this clear party? How do you not know how isolate works? Like, oh, are we supposed to swap in Worms Lament too? Why are you joining clear parties if you don't know how stuff works? Like, I feel like that's not an extreme example, and that happens to me like every few days, I would say. Doing clear parties and stuff like that. Like, I call them? I don't call them out. I don't. But like, I do think what they're doing is toxic, and I think getting called out for being toxic is not also toxic, if that makes sense.
Maybe they have a soccer event, or maybe they are trying to move into a house, and when it comes into time considerations, this is actually a pretty good point. Then the author goes into what makes someone think that being asked to use AoE spells in a pack of more than 3 mobs is something rude to say, and that it's basically unsolicited advice at that point.
So teaching them will get you there faster, but it's not a question of what would get you there faster. The question is like what's toxic and what's not, right? That's just like it's a different thing. And like I agree that like being nice to them and like teaching them what to do or whatever will get you there faster. But at the end of the day, it's still toxic that they join your party and are underperforming, I think. Regardless of whatever your solution is. Like, I think that's my
being
point.
asked to use defensive cooldowns as a tank so that you can make your healer's life easier, being called hurting the experience. And then they go into, are you telling me that wasting their time and ruining the dungeon or raid for other people is not hurting the experience for others? And then they go into detail about like how there are tons of YouTube videos, there are tons of guides written, verbal and all that, and they can really help you like understand the kind of class that you're playing. Although, if you look at my Summoner Ultimate Guide and then my upcoming Machinist Ultimate Guide,
Yes. What the heck?
the
What are these
recording
guides?
for the Machinist Ultimate Guide, which is currently being edited and trimmed down, is right now at 1 hour and 20 minutes. I wouldn't really say that just reading the tooltips will make you a good machinist, but I digress from the point.
I feel like what the OP like I feel like what the person is saying here, like that like reading tooltips isn't good enough to like be a good machinist. Like I agree, but like we're not talking like the person's example that he's responding to is about a dungeon. Clearly they're not talking about something like ultimate. There's a very big difference between playing well in a dungeon and playing well in an ultimate. And specifically they're talking about playing well in a dungeon, which only requires reading your tooltips pretty much, right? You read your tooltips and that's it. Then like you understand how like then you can pretty much play at least decently okay in a dungeon. Nothing like no one's asking you to be like amazing speed kill dungeon player. All we want to see is that you're using your AoE buttons. Like all I want to see when I enter a dungeon is the tank is using cooldowns, the healer's DPSing, and my whatever DPS job I have, like the DPS players are like using AoE buttons, right? Like you're using Flare, you're using Death Blossom, you're using Doom Spike, or whatever have you. And like that's all you're looking for, and that's all that requires is reading tooltips. That's all it requires.
But I just think it's a bit more than that. But following this further, they say you don't need a mentor crown, and in their eyes it's just glamour. And to be honest, the Burger King crown is a video that I actually did before. I'm actually going to put a card here if you want my feelings and opinions on the mentor system here. But yeah, I think that it's a really good point that you don't need a mentor crown to give advice. And then kind of like to wrap up overviewing this
Who thinks
post,
you need a
they
mentor crown
go
to give
into
advice?
detail about saying how it's not okay to act stupid with someone that made one mistake in a dungeon, and then just because you already know it. And then they kind of clarify that their personal issue is that if you give some advice to some person, that person still insists on doing the error, or they might lash out in kind of like an action of spite. And then they brought up the fact of actually kicking a person from their party for doing it. And then basically like they close with just saying, it's not hard guys, just give it a try. So covering all of that, there is a lot of controversy around a lot of these points for many, many good reasons.
I don't know what to say. I'll just keep going.
There are points for it, and there are points against it for sure. And so the real intent of this...
Sorry, it bothers me. This person, like, I know they're an amateur video creator, but it bothers me that they clearly have audio clips that they kind of smash together, but like the audio clips are getting cut off. So like it very clearly sounds edited together. Whereas like these video essays, you generally want them to be like one smooth, like free flowing, like full video. You know what I'm saying? Kind of sounds like a monologue, even though it's not. But like, I don't know. It just bothers me. Sorry.
Video is to kind of like
Something to
discuss it,
improve on.
because you know what, I'm only one person, I have my own viewpoints, and just reading through the comments I thought that, hey, this is a really good topic that I think is worth discussing more. And judging actually from the kind of bad ratio that is on this post at the time, I think that this is fairly important to discuss. So kind of breaking it down,
Talking out of his
I want
ass?
to talk about the first
Alright.
point being about time. And while I did
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? See, like, look.
breaking it down, I want to talk about the first point being about time. And while I did discuss it,
Like, okay, I guess he put in this edit here, but like, I don't know.
Earlier, I didn't discuss it in depth. Yes, we have like parents, we have a lot of adult population that works full time, and then maybe they could spend 1 or 2 hours a night if they're lucky to do it, or it might even be for a week on a Saturday at whenever time they can like tucker down and just play. And then the question becomes, is it almost unfair to someone who is in your party who can only play for 4 hours to kind of play poorly? And I think that as soon as we start asking this question, we need to just start really defining what is poor gameplay. And then some people, especially
Oh no. Guys, we need to break it down. In this essay, I will explain to you what it means to be a bad player. Oh no. This is... But what does it really mean? In this essay, God.
people from the balance Discord,
I'm not hitting
know
any
the
keys.
perfect
The only
rotation,
key I'm
know
hitting is
the
pause and play.
mathematical output. To the people that are parsing orange, who
Why
are
is it
using
laggy?
all
Why is
the
this video laggy?
consumables, when you talk about poor play, that could be as much as, hey, you're using a macro instead of a normal GCD, and therefore you're losing a tiny bit of the 2.5 seconds every GCD
No, the video is
that
laggy.
you use on this macro button. And for them, that's a sin. And I mean, that is actually shown in my Dragon.
Isn't this a zoom hack? Am I wrong? Is this a zoom hack? The amount of the arena you can see here. Isn't this a zoom hack? Oh, ultra wide. Ultra wide is just the legal zoom hack.
Video where I actually didn't know that, and I'm gonna just say that here. And likewise, I was disliked into oblivion in spite of 99.9% of the information being correct. And so to them, performing poorly was that, and that was likewise an affront to that. But then to more casual
Zoom hack a little bit.
players, it's basically if you are doing nothing, if you're not doing a rotation, or if
Can you tell the difference? Oh, zoom hacking is extremely OP. This is a different topic for another day maybe, but zoom hacking is really strong in Prague, like really really strong. So yeah, it's actually a big deal.
if you're a healer just standing there not DPSing, then you're performing in their
Of course.
mind.
Sorry. Of course, just to before I just move on to something else. If you zoom hack, like I don't care how you play the game, right? We're not interacting with each other. It's only more like you know, world race type things, right? If someone zoom hacks in the world race, that kind of sucks. That kind of thing.
Poorly because you're not always doing something. And then to people who run a lot of extreme primals, and in my instance I have all of the mounts, so I can attest to having experience in this area. It can just be people who are making mistakes. They might be really good on the rotation, but hey, they just clipped the party with some cleave or something like that, and so they're performing poorly. And likewise, with all that being said, the perception of what is poor is actually really, really, really subjective. But in my mind,
Has he said anything in the last 7 minutes?
I think that this can be pinned down a little bit more in concept of numbers. Or in other words, how long does a dungeon take? Yeah, are you performing well? Then okay, your expert roulette should be about 14 minutes duration. If you're performing poorly, then it should be 22 or more minutes in duration. Or alternatively, if we're talking about something like extreme primals, it's more so, are you clearing? But if you're able to clear, then it also gets into the time aspect. If we all, like, to anyone who has played...
Wait, what? Did he just stutter? Did he just stutter?
And it also gets into the time aspect. If we all, like, to anyone who has played, then...
Did he even edit this video at all? I don't want to call this person out, but like, oh, whatever.
For a long time, then they remember skip soar or disband was a meme for a long time, referring to players who expected the DPS level of the entire party to be able to skip a mechanic called soar, or the entire group would be disbanded because they assumed that their DPS was just too low. And for the record, there were many groups who did not skip soar and were able to clear without issue.
But also skipping, like, if you couldn't skip soar, then your group had bad players. That's just like, I don't know. Yeah, like you could do score and clear, but also like soar wasn't hard to skip at all, if I remember correctly. If I remember correctly, soar was really easy to skip if you just had people with gear doing opener, and that's it.
Regardless, in their mind, it was considered to be poor performance to not skip Soar. And then all of this...
I'm not saying you have to skip Soar, and I think disbanding if you can't skip Soar is dumb. I also think that if you're not skipping Soar, at least 1 or 2 players in your party are underperforming.
Combines together and kind of ties back into the idea of having a limited amount of time, because when you get into an extreme primal, you know you have 4 hours to play this game a week, and you want to get as much done as you can, because hey, you want to get that fancy mount, you want to grind out those totems. Whoops, I'm way too used to tomestones, sorry. But basically you want to make sure...
Okay, so this person very clearly edited some of the audio of this video because of like the way like it sounds like to me. Like he edited audio clips together, but then other times he just like doesn't edit things out.
Sure that you get all of those done. And likewise, if someone's performing poorly or you're at risk of wiping, then you, in the interest of your own time, want to leave that group. And likewise, getting to the end or near the end of it, such as for Hades, which is an extremely long fight, and then everyone wipes to the Exaflare mechanic, that can be very frustrating for someone who has limited amount of time, because not only did they spend the time to go into Party Finder, to find the group, to get all the way through the fight, but then wipe there, and then you don't know if you can clear or not with this group, it does put some pressure on this player. And likewise, if you have someone who's just logging in for an hour just trying to do as many dailies as they can.
So I'm like nitpicking really stupid things, but like the problem is like the problem is that I can't actually react to the content because there is no content.
They are the tank and they're not performing well, then it can be very frustrating to them, because something that is now taking 14 minutes in their mind is now taking 25 minutes. And to them, that's an affront against their time. And likewise, because it's an affront to their time, they get very frustrated because they're like, hey, I want to be productive, and part of the MMORPG experience is building out your characters, so getting those mounts, getting that more experience points, getting that level, building up your character is definitely a part of it. So to them, it's incredibly frustrating and it feels like a waste of time. And likewise, viewed from this viewpoint of someone who can only play 4 hours a week, you could argue that it is not nice and it is not fair of the community to say that this person who just caused a wipe is not...
It is almost a react to editing, but like it's because he's not saying anything, right? So far he's basically said that like people care about time, which like I get it, like that is pretty much the main thing that people care about, right? Like, oh, this expert relay is taking too much time, etc., right?
Not actually being nice, and that this person should be given tips and tricks to try and help them get further through the fight.
He's like meandering.
Likewise, to kind of cap this section off, someone who had limited amount of time that was involved in many wipes would see these wipes due to poor gameplay and find it unfair to them. And likewise get frustrated and find it to be quote-unquote not nice of the community to not let them want to help another player so that they can get their clear. Now my second point that I want to talk about and kind of have a little bit of a discussion and flesh out is how much does poor gameplay, quote-unquote poor, impact the actual flow of a dungeon. And I think that this OP actually created a very, very good point, because I can say, as someone who has mained healers for most of this game, as in particular the Scholar, that a tank that does use their cooldowns makes my life infinitely easier. It makes it so that I can DPS more, and likewise because I can DPS.
I feel like this person needs to write out a script. To me, okay, I'm gonna stop watching this video because I don't think I'm getting a lot out of it. But here's what I think. I feel like this person needed to think about what he wanted to talk about and write out a script. And like he wanted to write out an outline with his main points and then flesh out a script. I feel like what he's doing is he decided, hey, I want to talk about bad players, I want to talk about this topic, and then hit record, and then he just decided to talk for 25 minutes. Like, that's what it sounds like. So, yeah, I don't know. Unless they suddenly gets more content later. Maybe I'll check this person's other videos.
So, this is a video that I've tried to record about 4 times now.
What is this?
What's up, guys? Raziel here, and I wanted to do a video. I've been working for a while on the power progression, power creep video for a little bit, and hitting a couple snags with it. But in my Discord, I got linked a video, and I'll put the link to the video I saw in the description below. You may be wondering, what the hell is this little guy doing? in the video, and it's pretty obvious.
Is this a video of someone reacting to Link's Camelli? I'm reacting to a video of a guy reacting to Link's Camelli.
Obvious. He's my clickbait. He's the only reason people watch my shit anyway. Definitely the only people watch my stream, but he's got to sit in here and be clickbaity. So, yeah. Anyway, this video talked a lot about the Final Fantasy XIV community and in how a lot of ways it's just as toxic as any other. Essentially, that Final Fantasy XIV's community is very, very good, very friendly, as long as you agree with them. And I wanted to address this video because I do play Final Fantasy XIV and I play World of Warcraft still, and that game was brought up as well. So without any further ado, hey, what are you doing? Without any further ado,
I like this video because it's a dog. I like this video because it's a dog. Oh no, where'd the dog go? Alright, I'm done. No more of this video. No more dog.
Hey there, and welcome back to my channel. So I just saw a post on the subreddit that was talking about why people aren't playing healers, and I actually think that this is a topic that I can speak a lot on, because ever since like A Realm Reborn, I have been like definitely a huge scholar main. Don't let all those tanking videos get you wrong. I'm just starting off with the tanks and gonna go through all the classes.
Oh no, we're meandering again.
Healing is my bread and
butter. We're meandering again.
I'm passionate about, and I generally tend to play support in games such as in Warframe. I play Oberon as my main.
Why are we talking about Warframe?
I pretty much play the entire roster.
Oh no.
And in general, from MMO to MMORPG over the years, I've definitely played healers. Like in World of Warcraft, I was playing a druid, and then
I get it. You play healers. It's been 45 seconds. I get it.
But I digress from the point.
Yes, you digress from the point. Yes,
Healing
you do.
In Final Fantasy XIV is a little different than most other games, such as.
All right. Which video should I watch? What is this?
Did I ever tell you what the definition?
Oh no, I don't like this type of humor. Sorry. A lot of meme videos don't actually work for me. I apologize. My sense of humor is really garbo. I'm entertaining. It's just, I mean, I don't want to be toxic, but like, I don't know. I draw a line between criticizing someone's work and criticizing someone as a person. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm fine criticizing this person's work or people's skills at things, because to me that doesn't speak volumes about them as a person. So like that person's probably like a good human being, you know? But I just like don't think he's a good video creator. And he could probably like, there's nothing saying he can't, you know, learn and improve, but I just don't think he's very good. You're surprised today's the first time you've been here? How come?
Razio.
I just don't want to be overly harsh, right? Like, what I'm saying is that, like, this is actually the truth about toxicity, to be honest. What makes something toxic or not, and when I say toxic or honest, is, like, it's how you say what you're trying to say. Like, I don't think it's toxic for me to call out someone for being bad. I don't think it's toxic for me necessarily to say that someone's video is not well made. What's toxic is how I convey that, right? What's toxic, what can be toxic, rather, is if I convey it in a poor way, and just, like, in fact, like, beat him down about, like, his potentially poor video quality and make fun of him for it, or rather just, like, point out the things that may or may not be flawed, right? So, there's definitely, like, levels there, and there's a lot of gray area in terms of what's toxic or not, which is, but, like, yeah. Like, for example, me saying, like, oh, yes, you digress is, like, I'm kind of making fun of him, which can be kind of toxic, I guess, depending on where you draw that line. But, like, I don't know. It's kind of funny. I don't know. Poking a little fun.
Okay, guys, now for a little bit of context, I want to first say that the creator of this video, I don't know him. I've never seen any of his content before, actually, and he looks like he's been making Final Fantasy XIV content for a bit.
Like,
a little bigger than I am.
I don't be nice to be nice.
His name is
right?
Link's Camelli. I'll link to his video.
Being
in the
careful about your
below,
wording and how you convey things is a really
the video
important life skill.
in question that brought up this topic for me was
it.
The Final Fantasy XIV community has a big problem, and he goes into reasons why Asmongold even
these videos are so long.
Is afraid to play Final Fantasy XIV because he says the people that play 14 are very, passionate about the game and are very into the game, emotionally invested in the game, and so if you don't like it, you get ripped apart. And if you disagree with anybody in the Final Fantasy XIV community, you get ripped apart. Now, I both disagree and agree with this statement. People are definitely emotionally invested in the games they find the most, and I do agree that a lot of people take it when you say something negative about any game or anything that they really love.
Wait, sorry, this is irrelevant. This dude's top donation is $600 fucking dollars? Holy shit. Sorry.
View it as a personal attack, and that's a problem on their own part. I'm sorry, but if it's just my opinion, but if you take someone critiquing or criticizing or even hating on something something you really like, and you take it as a personal,
it's 300 Genshin rules. When I started this rage here, a lot of people talk to you about your Trojan North usage, which is advice you need to hear. It depends on like how it's conveyed, right? Like if someone tells you like garbage for not doing it, it feels bad, but if someone's like, hey, you should use True North, and like it would help you out, right? If I said all this about you, we wouldn't be friends. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not out here to make friends. I think one of the million reasons why he doesn't want to play the game, that's the one people focus on. I'm sure he has a lot of reasons. People focus on it because like it confirms people's biases that the community is bad, and it also like it's something for people to get mad about if they think the community is good, right?
Attack.
Hey,
you need to
Sharon.
grow the fuck up and stop acting like a little bitch.
Wait.
Okay?
What was the context on that? I totally missed that.
Or criticizing or even hating on something something you really like, and you take it as a personal attack, you need to grow the fuck up and stop acting like a little bitch. Okay, because that's just reality. Also, I'm of the opinion.
I don't know if I want to watch the rest of this video. If you're interested in debate and debauchery in my snowflake melting Discord, how fast do you think I could get banned from this guy's Discord? for him being a snowflake. I don't know.
That nothing is beyond scrutiny, nothing is beyond critique, even some of the best things ever. Now, to get a little more context, I'm going to play a clip of the main things I want to address when he says what you're met with from the Final Fantasy XIV community when you disagree, or 3 generic responses. And here is what he was talking about.
Final Fantasy XIV has a great
Oh, I'm
community
watching Lynx's video again.
until you disagree with them. It's no secret that criticizing any aspect of Final Fantasy XIV will get you absolutely blasted by the FF14 community. There's a reason why you never hear anything bad about FFXIV, and that's because
Sorry, maybe I need to do another day where I re-react to Lynx's video, because I disagree with a lot of his video. I will be one of the first people to tell you that this community is actually like pretty shit, and like not shit, rather it's not as good as people say it is. It's probably in fact the same as every other fucking community. Every game community is the fucking same, but like, God, this video is so inflammatory. I really did not like this video, but it got him clicks, so you know, I guess that's what you gotta do for clout. But yeah.
because as soon as you critique any small part of the game, the mob mentality of the community kicks in at full force and shuts you down, making it impossible to feel like you're allowed to give your thoughts on an aspect of the game.
What did I not like about this video? Don't you think it's ironic that he's basically saying that whenever you criticize the game, the community kicks into full force and shuts you down and doesn't let you talk, and meanwhile he has like tons of views and like people watching him on Twitch and stuff? Don't you think that's ironic? Like, I feel like it's so exaggerated to say like, oh yeah, they're silencing me. They won't let me speak my opinion. Like, I don't know. That's like what it comes across to me, is like whining. I mean, obviously, like he probably just saying like exaggerated stuff, right? He's basically saying exaggerated stuff to get more views, to get more people, like to create controversy around his video, so more people watch it. But like that's what it comes across.
That you don't like. I have personally felt this mob mentality numerous times over my 4 years playing the game, and most recently it was with a video I made.
Like, here's the thing, right? He says, oh, I didn't want to react to this video today, but he said like, okay, like I felt this mob mentality many times, like, well, I'm speaking out my opinion or whatever. I mean, I've played this game for 5 years now. Wait, 4 years? Whatever, 4 or 5 years now. and I just speak my opinion, and it doesn't, like, no one is telling me to shut up. I mean, if you guys told me to shut up, I would probably just get louder, but, like, no one's telling me to be quiet. No one's silencing me. I feel like that might be a problem with you. I don't know. That's just how I see it.
Where I made a quick comment that I skipped the story content in FF14 and don't care about the main scenario quests or the cutscenes. People were quick to jump at me, telling me that I was missing out and wasting my money, and that if
like, this is the example of people being quick to jump out at him. He says, to be clear, I don't think this is a wrong way of playing the game. I just don't want to listen to your opinions anymore. And that's honestly a very fair comment in my opinion. I don't know. He says, I don't want to listen to your opinions because I cannot relate at all. And, like, that's fair. If you don't want to listen to someone, like, you don't have to listen to someone, right? Like, this is a very normal conversation. Like, this is apparently him, people jumping at his throat is this. And I'm just like, how? How is that this? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Sorry, again, we're not even watching Lynx's video, but, like, this is, like, the power of his video. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, he says stuff that is so controversial or inflammatory that, like, people have to react to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm reacting. I'm falling for it right now. I'm falling for the clickbait right now. The reaction bait right now. That's like what his video does. That's like the point, right? To get the views. That's part of the reason why I don't like this video. But
if I was going to skip the story, then I'm just a stereotypical WoW player, and I should go play that game instead. People were berating me and insulting me for enjoying the game in a different way than them. I would love to make videos discussing the things that disappoint me in Shadowbringers, or the things that I want to see changed in the game, but I already know that any video I make like that will get hit with 3 responses. Go back to WoW, Yoshi P said you're supposed to take breaks and to unsub if you're not having fun, or that we should always cater to new players and new players deserve all the attention and special treatment.
Okay, I'm going to address the first thing that
alright, let's react to the reaction.
He said. And again, I cut his video up a little bit, just I wanted to hit on the main points that I wanted to talk about, but you can go back and watch it, the video in its entirety, in the link to that video is in the description below. Yeah, and if you go over there, you know, go ahead and say hi. I've only seen a little bit of his content, but I actually think it's quite good. This guy is a high-end level player, a top, you know, top tier, top parser.
This guy also doesn't do audio editing.
Clears ultimate raids. That's what his whole channel is about, and it's what his goal is in Final Fantasy XIV, to be the best of the best, top of the top raider. And you know, I think I can give a pretty good outlook because I used to be one of those players in every MMO that I played, and I wouldn't call myself a casual now. In Final Fantasy XIV, yeah, but in, you know, the MMO I'm currently playing, which is again back to WoW, I wouldn't say I'm casual, but I'm not as hard.
I don't care if you
say
you're kind of
mythic rating or anything like that.
Get to your point.
So for context, there's that.
Come on.
Quick, you know, public service announcement. But
we just wasted like 30 seconds of
Final
my time.
Fantasy community is great until you disagree with them. That statement, I would say, is probably kind of true. Not completely true. Not everyone is.
I would say they're padding video length, but this video is 20 minutes long. This video, yeah, you only need 10 minutes. I don't think he's padding length. I think this is just how these people make their videos. They just don't understand that, like, this, like, they just don't understand that, like, people don't want to listen to the meander, right? I don't think they're padding length at all. I think this video just ended up being 20 minutes.
That way. Every game is going to have
the person he was referring to as the high-end player is Lynx Camelli.
Pricks and assholes and people so far up their ass they can't, you know, see the light of day. That's normal in any, not just video game, but in any activity that you can enjoy. But I've personally experienced this phenomenon as well. Again, I haven't gotten it too bad. It's probably partially because my channel is small, and it's also, but it's probably partially because I think people just know, you know, for me anyway, if they've watched any amount of my content, that it would be a waste of their time to berate me.
What is he talking about? Okay, I'm not gonna lie. This is how I feel like I sound when I'm streaming, when I'm like playing the game while trying to talk to you guys while doing Ultimate. This is kind of like how I feel because it's really hard for me to create points and actually like back up my points and like discuss what I want to talk about while I'm doing Ultimate at the same time because Ultimates take a lot of my brain power. This guy's just making a video though. This guy's just making a video. You can take as many takes as you want. You can take as many takes as you want.
I don't give a shit, but they constantly, I've had tons of YouTube comments and posts about anything
I'm supporting him. I mean, like, I don't care if I support these people, right? Like, I'm just like watching this video just to see like what it's like. I don't care if you think of like, you know, I don't care if I'm giving them an extra view or not. Like, I don't know. This is just my stream content. I'm getting off on being toxic toward this dude. I mean, if you want to interpret it that way.
Thing that I may miss in a review about Final Fantasy XIV in a comparison. And I've been shit on all over in the YouTube comments too. If you don't believe me, just go browse through on all my Final Fantasy XIV versus World of Warcraft videos, all kinds of stuff. I get shit on all the time by people. You must not know what you're talking about. You clearly don't know anything about the game. It's like, yeah, dude. Well, you're clearly a piece of fucking shit, and no one cares about what you think any more than they care about what I think.
What? I feel like this person is just like airing random grievances now. Like what does that have to do with the video? I'm so confused. Like, what? I don't need to know that. I don't care.
So get over yourself. But that's what I feel about his first statement. Yes, that statement is generally true, but it's also a generally true statement for most things. Not all things, most things. If you say something negative about something, people are going to have a hissy fit. If you critique something, if someone likes it, likes the product you're critiquing, they're going to shit on you. Why? Because that's just the internet. Welcome to the internet, dude. That's what happens. That's how people are. Because they're anonymous. They can be as negative and as big of a fuckface as they want to you, and it doesn't matter. People are just going to do that because...
You react to this video and the video itself is a good encapsulation of the community? You think? I feel like everything he's saying could just be concisely put into 30
I don't
seconds.
like this thing, but I like that thing. I like
everything
that
he's
thing.
saying is just literally the 30-second video,
fuck?
but
I
less
like
funny.
that thing. You know, there are people who exist that like that thing. We will not be silenced, you fucking son of a bitch! I like that thing. I like that thing. But I do like this thing. I don't like that thing. That thing fucking sucks. I fucking hate that thing. Oh!
That's literally what he's been talking about for like 2 minutes.
Par for the course. Sorry about the sound. The garbage truck's outside my house. Now, next I want to address the next point that he said, which was people giving him shit for not watching the story, not caring about MSQ or the characters or anything like that. And a lot of the comments...
Sorry, I know League World's going on. I'll end my stream soon.
Were pretty pathetic, pretty disturbing. But it's just, to me, for...
He's just said the comments are disturbing, and it's just like, I don't know, it feels like that's such an overreaction. Ironically, I feel like it's sensitive to think that those YouTube comments are disturbing or, you know, that kind of thing, right? To react so strongly to just random YouTube comments, I feel like is ironically that snowflake mentality that apparently he hates. Like that's how I feel about that.
They're proof of not just a problem with gaming MMO communities as a whole, regardless of what game you play, but with our society as a whole right now. Sorry, man. Every time I make a video is when everyone wants to fucking text me. Anyway, sorry about that. It gets kind of ridiculous, but it's just, you know, par for the course. At this point, people are interested in echo chambers. That's where they're most comfortable. I mean, the guy in one of his comments flat out said, I don't want to hear opinions from a different standpoint than my own. I mean, who wants to live that way? I'll tell you who wants to live that way. The modern people of this age, this generation, you know, millennials, Gen Z, it's...
Oh my god, is this guy a fucking boomer? Oh my god. Is this guy a boomer? Who wants echo chambers? Millennials and Gen Z. Oh my god, this guy's a fucking boomer, dude. This guy's just a fucking boomer. Why am I even giving him the time of day? This guy's just a fucking boomer. Yeah, I don't know, man.
It's just come down to that, and I don't think it's just unique to the generation either. Most people are this way. People feel threatened, unsafe, and they get upset easily when they hear any standpoint or view that isn't their own.
Not you though,
That's-
right, bro?
The common sign of a weak mind in general.
Weak mind. Hmm. Oh my god. That's muted. Smooth brain, weak mind.
If you can't, that's where all debate happens. That's where problems get solved, is when
Oh yes, debate. Debate me. I love a good debate. Oh my god. Who is this guy? He had such a cute dog. He was off to such a good start. He was holding his very cute dog. His dog was just chilling there. I should have known when he didn't pet the dog. I should have known. Something is wrong here. But I ignored the warning signs.
two parties of an opposing viewpoint confront each other, hash it out, discuss,
enjoying
and
your break,
find some
Jeffo, by
common
the way.
ground, and make a compromise. Ultimately, though, people these days aren't interested in that, especially when we live in an age of anonymity on the internet.
Yes, people
The
these
fact
days.
that this guy caught shit just because he's definitely in the minority of Final Fantasy XIV players and he doesn't care about the MSQ or the story, because to me that's one of the main draws of the game right now. And for a lot of people, it's their favorite part of the game. I think it's Final Fantasy XIV's strongest point. But, yep, go on by. Go on by, man. Goddamn trucks and all kinds of shit outside my house.
What is he talking about? What is he talking
Anyway, sorry, tangent. But, I mean, to give somebody a hard time because they play a game completely different than you do, enjoy different parts of the game than you do, like certain things about a game that you don't like, or hate certain things about a game that you do like, who gives a shit? I mean, I probably don't enjoy Final Fantasy XIV the same way most people do anyway.
I mean, like, he's not wrong. Like you shouldn't care how other people enjoy the game, which I do agree with. But, like, if you can't use, basically what's happening is basically it's like, oh, look, this person got one YouTube comment or like 3 YouTube comments saying that they don't like that Link's Camelli doesn't like the story or something. And it's like, that's evidence of something bad. And it's like, dude, you can say anything and you'll get 3 YouTube comments saying that you're an idiot. Like, that's just, it doesn't matter. You can just say, like, I like bread, and they'll be like, bread actually fucking sucks, like, for, like, 3 comments, right? That's the ProZD video, which was much more succinct and concise and funnier, right? Like, that's not evidence of anything. That's just evidence of the internet being, like, dumb. And you just gotta, ironically, you gotta just have thick skin and ignore it. Like, that's just how it goes. I don't know. You actually hate bread? Fuck you, dude. I like bread.
Anyway, I mean, not once in the entire 4 years that I played Final Fantasy XIV, you know, did I ever make a Makote female character, take screenshots, then draw the character, and then call her my waifu and masturbate furiously to the picture. I've never done that, so I'm probably in the minority.
Like, what? Like, what? Like, what? Like, what? Do you feel so attacked that you have to build a straw man? Do you Yeah, dude, my bathroom actually has a collage of pictures of my cat girl, and I just get off every night to that. Oh my god.
And
You
know,
caught
that's
me.
Fine.
You caught
That's
me. You uncovered the deep
completely
secret of the
fine.
Final
You
Fantasy
don't have to
14
enjoy
community.
the game the same as everybody else. All right, now I want to address the 3 things he said, the 3 biggest comebacks, I guess you should say, that he gets when he complains about anything in Final Fantasy XIV.
Sorry, now I want to say, how the fuck did this guy get tipped $600?
which were go back to WoW. Yoshi P said you're supposed to take breaks and unsubscribe if you're not having fun, and we should cater to new players. Now, I'm going to address the ones that are easy to address first. I've never heard anyone say we need to cater to new players. I don't know where he's heard that.
Okay, I agree with this guy. I've never heard anyone say that either. So I actually agree with this guy. For once, I actually agree with this guy. I've never heard of anyone saying we need to cater to new players. I've never actually heard someone say that.
Where we need to baby them. People just seem to me on Final Fantasy XIV to be naturally helpful towards new players. I was, a lot of people were.
I mean, to be fair, AR does suck. And like, that's not catering to new players so much as like fixing something bad, I think. I don't know. I don't think that's catering to new players. I really don't think so. Because like, yeah, I wouldn't call that catering. It's like helping new player experience, but it's not catering, right? Catering has the nuance of like going overboard with making sure that that player group has a better experience. Like catering, right? Is basically saying like they're putting too much time and effort for that. But I wouldn't call that catering.
I used to run people through extremes on my stream. That was never something I saw someone encouraged for me to do. It was just the way that people generally are. Now, there are definitely a big difference between toxic players. Thanks for shaking, Razi. Toxic.
Also, flying in AR is actually good quality of life for like gathering and stuff too, like gathering gold ore, stuff like that.
Players in both World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy XIV. For example, in World of Warcraft, say your DPS is not up to par, you're not pushing numbers, or you die to a mechanic, the group will just instantly kick you. Why? Because they can. And it's really dumb. They'll kick you even when they have like a friend in the group that's doing far worse than you are. But they're not going to kick their friend, but they'll kick you. That doesn't happen in Final Fantasy XIV, mainly because it's against the TOS, like because you're not supposed to have parsers.
Did you just say that people don't get kicked for being bad in Final Fantasy XIV? Because that is not true. That is definitely not true.
So if you have a parser and you can tell when someone's damage is bad, God damn, what is up with this video? I have my dog choking in the background because he's licked himself too much. Got trucks running by.
What are you talking about, dude?
Might as well just pull the mic up to my ass and rip a big fart at this point. Anyway, sorry guys, hopefully that's the last interruption. But you can't do that in Final Fantasy XIV because you'll get banned. You'll get banned for being toxic because of the way they have it set up with
this video's
add-ons not being allowed.
I don't even know what to think
so
about.
You can't really compare that there. Because I think that if add-ons weren't banned outright in Final Fantasy XIV, the community as a whole, especially when it comes to raids and DPS stuff, would be just as toxic as WoW is, if not worse. So I'm going to set that to the side. Now, as far as go back to WoW, I mean, I guess that could happen. I guess people have said that. No one's ever said that to me, or go back to whatever game you came from. That's never personally happened to me.
I've seen people say that, but never to me.
The second one he mentioned is one that has happened to me quite frequently whenever I bring up a critique of Final Fantasy XIV's endgame especially, is, hey, it's not, Yoshi P said you should quit. And
if there's one thing from Link's Camelli's video that I super agreed with, is that specifically this point about people keep bringing up how Yoshi P says you need to take a break. That's just the most infuriating shit ever. But that was the one point I super agreed with from his video.
In my opinion, using that excuse, I agree completely with the original video creator in this one. It completely destroys any game or anything about the game ever getting better. I said long before Shadowbringers released that I think Endgame needed some new content. It needed a new Endgame structure. It needed some kind of 4-man content that's meaningful, because right now, literally the top hardest tier, which is really hard.
Sorry, that guy just sextuple weeped. Can we go back and watch the hotbar real quick? Just watch the hotbar real quick.
And content that's meaningful, because right now, literally game structure, it needed some kind of 4-man content that's meaningful, because right now, literally the top hardest tier.
He weaved Blood Weapon, Shadow Wall, Dark Mind, Reprisal, Carven Spit. What's the next one? Is that Salted Earth?
Here, which is really hard.
Abyssal Drain, and then he GCD'd.
In Final Fantasy XIV is ultimate raids, but the only reward you get from that is cosmetic. So
I think that
very, very tiny ass portion of the people who play Final Fantasy.
It's hard for me to judge Yoshi P's direction in the game without understanding how much of a budget he has to work on the game, which I feel like shields him from criticism sometimes. I think Yoshi P is overly shielded from criticism sometimes. I really do. Would I say that he's on his way out and it's gone stale? I think the game's gone stale. Do I think he's on his way out? I don't see why he would be, personally, but
14, do that content. Very few people even actually do Savage in the first place. Now, obviously, the amount of people that do Savage is much higher than the amount of people that do Ultimate raids, but I digress. Vast majority of people that play Final Fantasy XIV don't touch that content. Just like the vast majority of people who play World of Warcraft don't ever touch.
It's hard to say if he wants to leave or Square Enix wants him to leave, right? You never know, right?
Touch Mythic raids. It's just not what they're interested in. They're interested in the casual content. And I've said this before, the biggest difference, in my opinion, between the end game in WoW and the end game in Final Fantasy XIV is the most casual content in WoW still enables you to make your character stronger, i.e. Mythic Plus, whatnot.
Did he just call Mythic Plus the most casual content in WoW? Doesn't LFR exist? Yeah, he saved SE. That's definitely true.
You know, still slowly make your character better. While in Final Fantasy XIV, that's not the case. And I agree with him if you watch his whole video where he talks about the whole point of getting best in slot and Savage raids is so you can do ultimate raids, because outside of that you don't need the Savage gear, because the Savage gear is outdated the second the next.
I think it's very interesting that people say that you don't need gear once you beat the Savage raids, because like what do they think people did in Heaven's Ward?
Savage content
comes
comes
out
the
just
game
from
the
the
crafted gear that comes out.
I do agree with you on
is
that point.
better than the last tier Savage. As I've said before, Final Fantasy XIV has a bad habit of making its own gear worthless very quickly. And I'm going to bring this up more when I talk about power creep, because Final Fantasy XIV is quickly approaching.
I think that Square Enix might take Yoshi P and force him to work on like mainline Final Fantasy to save it too. You know what I'm saying? They'd be like, work on this to save our mainline franchise. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if this is going on.
Where they're going to have to start taking a lot of the same steps WoW did to avoid power creep. But that's in my power creep video.
I didn't want to be streaming this
coming soon, TM.
I have to watch this video now.
But as far as if your argument to a game's critique is, well, you should quit until more stuff comes out, then it sounds like you yourself don't want the game better. I am in complete agreement.
I think the idea of quitting until more stuff comes out isn't exactly directly opposed to the idea that you want the game to be better, in the sense that you can quit in between content and still feel like you want the game to be better. Like, they're addressing different things, right? The idea of quitting in between content is addressing the content drought. Wanting the gear to be better, the game to be better, is partially content drought, but it's also partially, I want the stuff that comes out to be higher quality. Not that we have more stuff, right? So I don't think these are actually like, I think that like they aren't necessarily at odds with each other, and framing them as like opposite ends of opinions is just incorrect, I think.
With him, when later in his video he says, every person in a game, whether you're casual, whether you're a hardcore crafter, whether you're a hardcore endgame raider, it doesn't matter what you like to do in the game, there should always be more content for you to do within a reasonable amount of time. You know, every 2 or 3 months they add more stuff for you to do. And I get it that with patch 5.3 that's coming out for Final Fantasy XIV, it was vastly delayed because of COVID-19. That makes sense. I'm not mad at Square at all for that. That makes sense. A lot of companies' projects got pushed back because of this. So that doesn't matter. It's expected that stuff's going to be delayed, and we had a longer lull of content in every.
The thing, Brimmer, is that I feel like you can appeal to multiple crowds and still do really well in specific areas. Because look at World of Warcraft, right? That game still has like a huge player base, probably tons of casuals, but they still do they do develop a lot of raid fights, right? And they do Mythic Plus and stuff like that. So,
MMO, but to go about and just say that a game is not designed to make you want to play it is essentially what they're saying. Well, fuck you. Like, there should be
whoa, aggression.
Enough stuff for you to do with what playstyle you like to do to last you a reasonable amount of time. And it makes it even worse if the content they do release for you is obsolete very quickly or isn't worth doing. And I think that's a big problem Final Fantasy XIV faces right now. It's a problem WoW's faced for a very long time, and only with what they're doing in Shadowlands coming up. And again, this is not confirmed because I haven't played it, but with what we see the changes they're making to try to change this, I'm not hoping, because I've long lost hope for the MMO genre as a whole, but I think it's a step in the right direction. And as per what Asmongold said, again, I don't watch
Yeah, I don't think it's reasonable to expect the game to have content for you if you play the game as much as someone like I did, me or Q does. I completely agree with that. Yeah, I also think that this video is
Asmongold hardly at all.
Somewhat inflammatory.
But for what he said, I agree with that. People are emotionally invested. You can't be so emotionally invested in a game that you rip apart anyone who disagrees with any part of your game. Nothing is beyond scrutiny. Nothing should ever be beyond critique. In fact, critiquing things is what makes them better. I can't even tell you how many games I absolutely love, but I can still point out flaws in them. Does it make the entire game shit or bad? No. But a lot of people have the mentality of, if you say anything negative about a game, it means all the good stuff doesn't count. It means all the things you like about the game are shit too, which is not the case. Or it means that even worse,
what is this
in this,
Where the
age
fuck
of
is the boss?
fucking complete snowflakes everywhere.
Excuse me, what did you just say?
That even worse in this, age of fucking complete snowflakes everywhere, that because you like something that they don't, you're stupid.
Ah, yes, the snowflakes. The snowflakes getting mad. Not me, though. Not me getting mad at the snowflakes. No, that doesn't make me a snowflake. No. But they're the snowflakes.
And you can't take it that way. If I say I don't like something about an aspect of Final Fantasy XIV or of WoW or of any game, and you happen to like that same aspect, I'm not attacking you as a person or even your tastes. I'm just straight up saying,
when I say something and we have a different opinions, I'm attacking you as a person and your taste, just so you know.
I don't like something. That's like interpreting, when you say something like, I like pizza, and somebody doesn't like pizza. That instead of me saying I don't like pizza, I said, hey, you're a fuckhead because you like pizza.
Yeah, who's the fuckhead who said they don't like bread? Get out of here.
Or you don't like pizza, whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's completely ridiculous. People grow up, stop being little pussies and little bitches about everything, and just have fun. Play the game you want to.
Stop being little pussies and little bitches, he says. Stop being little pussies and little bitches. God. I feel like the people who say this kind of thing don't even have like one iota of awareness. Aren't you the one who's being the little pussy or little bitch? That they can't even
play Pokemon
that you can't even
stream.
That you have to like make a whole video reaction as like someone giving you 3 YouTube comments in response. You know what I'm saying? Aren't you like the little snowflake in that aspect? I don't know. Thanks for the reset, Frederica. Pokemon stream? Maybe one day. I do like Pokemon a lot. Yeah, I don't like this guy at all.
Play. And if people don't enjoy things you do, great. If they...
Like, half the time he makes decent points that you can make in like 45 seconds. And then the other half of the time he's just talking about like boomers or like the truck outside or like his dog or something. And I'm like, what? I don't understand.
And vice versa. And one quick thing I wanted to say on the outro here is I went to his video after it was over, and like I saw one of the comments saying like the guy doesn't deserve to play Final Fantasy 14 because Final Fantasy's been out forever. And I just want to say, whoever that guy is in that comment section, you're a fucking idiot, because that's like the equivalent of someone in the 1950s telling me that I can't like or can't understand Lord of the Rings, the book series Lord of the Rings, because it's their book and they read it first. Like, fuck you. Tolkien wrote that book for everybody. Doesn't matter who read it first or how many times you've read it. God's sakes. Anyway, guys, give me your thoughts below, comments below.
This guy's pretty mad. This guy's a mad guy. Did he answer this question? Is FF14's community toxic behind closed doors? I felt like this closed doors thing is literally not relevant to the video at all. Wait, what? I got so baited by the title of this video. This is like... You know what really pains me inside? You know what really, really pains me inside? When this video has more views than my YouTube videos. That fucking just kills me, dude. I can feel a little part of my soul just dying out. Just fucking disintegrating and going into the ether. The healer abuse video.
Hey there, and welcome back to my channel. So
Alright. We will end stream within 30 minutes for sure this time. I have a meeting at noon. So I have a meeting in like 8.5 hours. So we'll end within 30 minutes for sure, but we'll move on to this video for now.
I just saw a post on the subreddit that was talking about why people aren't playing healers, and I actually think that this is a topic that I can speak a lot on, because ever since like A Realm Reborn, I have been like definitely a huge scholar.
Oh, my meeting tomorrow is with like Frosty and stuff.
Main.
Maybe meeting's the wrong word. Frosty wanted to talk to me about some of the 5.4 stuff.
Tanking videos get you wrong. I'm just starting off with the tanks and gonna go through all the classes. Like, healing is my bread and butter and something that I'm really passionate about, and I generally tend to play support in games such as in Warframe. I play Oberon as...
Oh no, he's talking about Warframe again. Stop!
Is a little different than most other games, such as in Overwatch you get a lot of flack for healers being called easy, such as Mercy will just latch a beam onto someone and then you'll fly around, and it's very stereotypically been said, oh, you just focus on healing and that's the easy end of things. Whereas in Final Fantasy XIV, it definitely takes a big paradigm shift. I mean, how to say it? You're not just a healer in this.
Okay, he clearly doesn't have a script if he doesn't know how to explain his point. Oh no.
Game, and yes, sure, if you want to boil it down, sure, you can get away in most content, with just healing without contributing to raid damage through debuffs like Chain Stratagem, or through using cards, or through DPSing. Like, you don't necessarily need to do that in most content.
I remember Mercy's Reign of Terror. I was a Mercy main.
Actually talking about
a pretty fucking good one too. I was mid-diamond
to the damage per second of the
oh, I guess that means I was okay,
make a huge
but still.
difference, and I do use act parsing to see how much damage I contribute.
Wait, did you just go ACT act?
As a healer, if you are contributing to the damage per second of the group, it's going to make a huge difference, and I do use act parsing to see how much damage I contribute, and very oftentimes I'm going to be 3/4 to sometimes even double what some DPS are doing in Expert Roulette when I'm on my Scholar, and when it all boils down to it, that can make the difference between whether your run's going to take half an hour or 20 minutes.
That's true.
And
oh, I've never had a half-hour run before.
In terms of should a healer...
20 minutes is like the long end.
Honestly, yes.
15 minutes
that
is the fast
a
end.
major part of your role, and that's one of the reasons why I actually find healers more engaging in Final Fantasy XIV than I do in other games. It's because, hey, you're not just spamming one single...
What is he
ability
talking
to, like,
about?
heal someone. Like, you have this whole range of tools, you have this whole range of DPS options.
I don't need you to talk to me about what it
and
means to play
you're
healer in
very
this game.
involved, and
I want to know what this healer abuse is
that being
thing.
said, it's very easy to get caught up in all the numbers with the throwing out the damage, with the throwing out the cards, and for it to become very overwhelming very quickly, because you're multitasking a whole lot of things at once, and it's just like, oh my god, I need to make sure that this person's healed. Oh my god, the DPS is standing in lava. Oh my god, this tank I just realized is 20 eye levels below what they should be. And so I kind of
Talking and talking.
want to share some of my
talking, talking,
experiences
talking.
because I have been playing this game for so many years, and I've pretty much on healer saw everything that one could really see. So first off,
I
I
am
want to
falling
say,
asleep.
yeah, in a lot of leveling instances, you are going to be getting tanks that are dramatically undergeared, and that they will not be using cooldowns a lot of the time, which is unfortunate. And one of the reasons why I actually, in my tanking videos, I made it its own separate, very dedicated section to flesh it out, because it's just like, you know what, that is a huge part of their kit, and it sucks because if they use it or not really makes a huge difference to you. Like, I can go an entire run on my Scholar where I basically have not cast a single heal, and where I'm using my Fairy. Sure, I'll use off global cooldown entire wall to wall. And is that daunting? Absolutely. I'm going to be the first person to say that, yeah, that is incredibly overwhelming to deal with that, because it's just like they're getting whacked for basically, and I'm going to be focused on doing as much damage per second as possible. And so if a tank does die, my first thought is, did the healer not prepare for the...
You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me when you've got like a 5-year-old cousin and you're like, hey little Johnny, what do you think about penguins? And then he starts like randomly starts talking about penguins, and then starts going on to talk about something else, and then he talks about like his lunch for the day. It's like, oh, and then he starts talking about something else like completely random. So like for 45 minutes just talks about a bunch of random crap that you do not care about. That's this video.
Tank buster, rather than did the tank use the cooldowns that they should have for the tank buster. Mind you, that being said, now that I've said it, do I think about that? Of course I do, because I've been the healer in the position where they're just like, oh, you should have used an Excog and an Adlo shield, and you should have done this. The tank is like 30 item levels, or sometimes even 100, like when you do the jump from last expansion to this expansion, that first level 71 dungeon. I've noticed that sometimes it can even be 100 item levels lower. And yeah, do people look at you first as the healer when you wipe? Absolutely. You're gonna be the first person that they're just like, oh, you should have healed more. It's like, well, I can only fit so many casts of this in the same time. And I think it's especially prevalent. It's really not worth it. Like, if you're really that salty about it, like, I strongly advise that you just leave the group before you even think of typing in the chat. Like, just don't do it. But anyhow, back to the point is, yeah, I think that the DP
Back to the point. There's a point?
yes also deserves some responsibility. There is no reason why, and this has happened to me in the past, why a single pull from wall to wall should be taking 3 minutes.
Oh, show chat replay. There's no text. No one's chatting.
In duration, when I have had clears of it done in 30 seconds. And so, kind of with everything being said, I really think that it's less beneficial to
I'm falling asleep.
try and
I'm actually
change
fucking falling
the way
asleep.
others act, and more beneficial if we kind of talk about
This guy needs to realize that his talent doesn't lie in video creation, but instead in like ASMR.
like the mentality that you need to go into with, like, into these situations with, and kind of like forming your own like confidence, where it's just like, you know what, okay, someone just went at me, you know what, I'll just explain myself and just be chill about it and just handle it the best way I can. And so I unfortunately really do think that that's more productive, because it's just like I can stand here on my tiny soapbox all day long and say, oh, rah rah rah, the DPS should be doing more, oh, rah rah rah, the tank should be doing more.
Yo, Sushi,
You know
you
what,
should
fact of the
subscribe to
matter
this
is,
channel. It might help you
nothing
out.
is gonna change that way. You're not gonna get the tanks not using cooldowns to start using.
Alright, good night,
cooldowns.
Malphite.
You're not gonna get DPS that are performing like a quarter of how they should be, doing more damage. You're not. And so
He
I
just
really
keeps
think
going.
that it's more beneficial to go from this angle.
He just keeps
So
going.
in terms of everything, when someone does come at you, I do say, sure, yeah, just explain yourself just as calmly as you can. I mean, don't be hostile back, because hostility plus hostility just it escalates very quickly, and
Nice.
there's no point in that. It's just a run. You just want to get it over with, and chances are you will probably never see these people again. If I'm being
chill
quite
guitar
blunt.
in the background.
Oh, you might months later, but good luck if you even remember them. But my point is, like, in the situation, just
Wait, his
explain
point.
yourself. Just don't use LOL, don't use OMFG or anything like that. Just
Nope, debated.
just be chill.
No point.
Just be like, hey, you know what? It'd be really nice if you maybe used a cooldown, and I'm trying my best here. Please be patient with me, and there's not too much more that I can do in this situation.
Yeah, I
but you
actually
know what, it would
understand his
really
point,
help
right?
if you
His point
maybe
is that
used
healers get
Lampard
blamed
and-
for other people's
or maybe
mistakes.
could you try pulling smaller? It really
But,
make a
like,
huge difference to me.
I don't think he's
and
ever said
I'm
it.
happy face with that.
I don't think he's ever said this
Another-
point.
Probably.
Isn't like, okay, here's the thing, right? When you learn how to write in like middle school and high school and you're writing your first papers, right? Isn't the first thing you learn like you gotta state your thesis at like the end of the first paragraph? Oh no, yeah. I'm not disagreeing with you, Frederica. I'm just elaborating on what you're saying. Isn't that like one of the first things you learn? But like I feel like this person's just like meandering and wandering and just like whatever. He should do ASMR. Yeah, that's how I feel. His voice is great. I like his voice a lot. I'm not gonna lie, he's a very good voice. I wish I had that voice. But yeah, I don't know, man. By healer abuse, I think he means like people blaming healers for wipes.
Rub
I mean,
somebody
like,
the wrong way
I don't
to
think he
shit
thinks it's
because
abuse
just
either,
like,
right? This is the
why would I in a
this is the
situation
nice
where I'm
like
blameless say
the
something
Final
like that?
Fantasy
And
14
that's true,
community
but you know what? It's
has
a
a
de-escalating
problem,
situation and
right?
just
And then
getting
it's just
through.
like there's
Because
actually
you
no
know
problem,
what?
and you're just trying to clickbait
It's more
people.
worth it
you know?
just to
I need to make
smile and
clickbait
put on a
videos.
happy face than to like
Thanks, lovely.
ring the bell and be like rah rah rah. I'm really mad. and
His
you're
voice
gonna
is very
suffer for it.
calming though.
I think that it's very important that I also talk about, like, sure, you can say that, but I mean, if you are doing your best, you are doing your best, and I'm gonna just say it outright.
He just said, I think it's very important that we talk about, sure, if you say that, if you are doing your best, you are doing your best. That is literally what he just said. What the fuck does that mean?
Come on, step it up.
Funa-chan, thanks for the follow. Arigato.
That I also talk about, like, sure, you can say that, but I mean, if you are doing your best, you are doing your best, and I'm gonna just say it outright. It is a game. At the end of the day, it's just a game, and it's meant to be fun.
What? I feel like I'm losing my mind. Like, what am I hearing? Like, I feel like, you know that tweet that's like, how has anyone ever been so far as to go what look like or something? You know what I'm talking about? Or like Dave and the Dentist, where like you just like super high, you don't understand anything. What is he saying? Is this English? It's like almost
You know
English,
what?
but it's not.
As long as you're doing your best, as long as you're having fun, I think that that's the main thing. And I know that sounds corny, but it is truly, at the end of the day, just a game. And you know what? If you popped all your cooldowns, you know that you've done the best you can. You know that you don't have more. And I mean, I'm gonna be honest, healing in this game is not easy. As I said before, you're juggling all of these different responsibilities at once, and you're being expected to perform well on all of them. You are
4 more
on
minutes.
Advanced
4
combat
more
tracker,
minutes.
gonna be having your HP per second rated. You're gonna have your DPS rated.
Who
and
rates
everyone's
HP
gonna
per
know
second?
If you used cards on them or changed stratagem or not. And so
Dude,
it
if you think it's a
definitely is
responsibility to change stratagem,
And I
is it
think
a
that it's just,
responsibility for you to
like,
fucking
very
remember to
important
breathe
like,
every
take a
few
step
seconds?
back and be like, you know what? I can do this. I've done healing before, and you know what? I've really kind of rocked it. And hey, you know what? It's something that I like doing, and you know what? Sure, this person died in this one instance, and sure, they might be frustrated, but you know what? I'm doing this for me, and I know I'm doing
I think
a
what
good
really
job, and
makes
you
this
know
what really
smile
makes
and
this
say,
point
"Let's do a
hard to
small
understand
poll," or "Let's
is
smile
that
and
he
say,
doesn't give
"Hey,
concrete
it'd be really
examples.
lovely if you
He says
guys
like,
helped
"Oh
me
yeah,
out."
sure,
Come on,
maybe
step
this
it up.
happened. Sure, maybe that happened," and you just words like this,
But
that, they, or
ultimately,
whatever.
yeah,
Oh, like maybe
there
that
will
was
be
bad, and he's
situations
giving
that you
very
run into
vague
where it's
examples.
just like,
No concrete
you
examples
will
makes
be
it very
blamed
hard
for
to follow
stuff,
what he's
even
saying.
when it is not your
Hey,
fault.
Rhino, thanks
And
for the
does it
follow.
suck? Absolutely.
That's almost always
You know
why I
what?
try to give examples of
Unfortunately, I'm not
specific
gonna
fights
sit here
when
on this
whenever I'm
video
talking about
saying,
stuff, because
yeah,
it
you can
grounds
change them
the
because
point
recognize
better.
you can't. I really wanted to end it kind of like on a more positive note and say, like, you know what?
Ending
Healing
this
is
video.
honestly
2 more
great,
minutes.
and it's something that I wouldn't change. And I'd say that, yeah, does it take practice to get good at? Absolutely, because it's just like everyone's just like, oh, why aren't you DPS?
The 14 community is not good at making, at least these videos that we're looking at. Maybe I'll just watch his upload videos next time. I'm sure they're better.
I can really
I'm
say
sure his
that,
upload videos are better.
yeah, have I wiped a lot of people? Absolutely, absolutely. I'm the first person to admit it. I've wiped Eden Savage groups, even this tier, because I'm just like, oh, whoops, I didn't use my indom. Whoops. But you know what, that's fact, and stuff happens, and it's just like, you gotta just get a grip on it, and like, if anyone yells at you, it's just like, you know what, it's not your fault. They just...
So his point, I think, is people blame healers for wipes. Sometimes you do make mistakes and you do cause wipes, and you just gotta keep your chin up and have confidence in yourself. Right? Did I sum it up? Did I sum this 14.5-minute video up?
need to get a grip on it, and it's just like, you know what, I have to say, like, when you do get good at it, it's one of the most rewarding roles ever, because as I said, it's just like,
Oh, and that
you can
healing's
cut down
rewarding.
run times dramatically, you can make sure the entire team lives, and it's really rewarding. I do honestly love it. Anyhow, that all being said,
Zeppo's
just make
hilarious.
sure
Yeah, maybe I'll
that
check
you
out
focus
Zeppo
on
sometime.
yourself and kind of like your mentality, and don't really let anyone tell you that you're like less than or not worth the like anything, like, because you know what, a lot of people can be toxic.
learned in
Unfortunately,
voting
even in this community, we've definitely grown since the start of A Realm Reborn, and yeah, there are some unpleasant elements, but you know what, just know who you are, know your truth, and live your truth. And I
Know who you are, know your truth, and live your truth. Thanks. Are you a 40? Dude, the guy who made his video is secretly actually a 40-year-old suburban white mom. God. Know your truth, live your truth.
know that sounds kind of corny, but it's true, and it's just like, you know what, at the end of the day, real life, game, anything, you're gonna deal with some people that are that way, and you know what,
Eat, pray, love.
you just gotta believe in yourself. And you know what, I can tell you that anyone that cares enough to like even look up this video, you're great, and you're trying.
Oh, he called me great. That's a pog. That's a pog.
And
Watching
honestly,
this video
that
is worth it.
means so much
I am great,
more
thank you.
than if you
Thank you for recognizing it.
And so you know what, keep the faith, keep strong, and yeah, we got this. Anyhow, that is all for this quick little vid, and I hope
Quick little vid! That was slow and I fucking skipped half of it.
everyone has a fantastic day. Thank you so much for tuning in, and if you throw a subscribe or a like my way, I am a brand new channel, and honest to goodness, it would help me out so much, and each and every single one of you means the world to me. Anyhow, that's all. Take care.
Quick compared to his other vids? Oh my god. He has a lot of videos. Wait. 67,000 views.
Hello there, and welcome to my ultimate guide
Oh
to the
my
Summoner
god.
in
It's an hour
Shadowbringers.
long. It's an hour and 12 minutes long. Oh my god.
So I realized that this video is actually quite long, and so there are actually a bunch of different sections, and I have provided different timestamps out in the description below. Yeah, check that out. And
What is intro, niche, traits, and fantasy? What does that have to do with What does that have to do with Ultimate? What does that have to do with Ultimate?
Summoner is undeniably one of the most iconic jobs to ever exist in the Final Fantasy.
Alright, we're done. We're fucking done. I need to go sleep. Or end things. Follow me here if you like my content, even though I'm like not doing anything. I usually do Savage stuff, but follow me here if my opinions are good or bad or whatever. You'll follow me on Twitter. We got a Discord community as well. Just hang out in there sometimes. But yeah, next stream tomorrow at 9 Pacific or so.
Come on, step it up.
Gecko, thanks for the follow. And I will raid some. Who should I raid? Pharaoh? Is it Pharaoh's birthday?
Come on, step it up.
Thank you for the follow, Kunza. I'm going to raid Pharaoh because I think Pharaoh is birthday because he says Cake Day stream. So yeah, I'll be off a good night. Good night.